Okay, well, all settled on the wrap, it's paid off, and I'm ready to go and drive. It's not technically gonna be the first drive because I drove it around the block on delivery day. I'm gonna head home, mount some GoPros, but then we're gonna go for the first like real canyon drive, even though I can't go over 5,000 RPM, but still, you know, I've got plenty of room to have fun. So let's go home. And actually, this is the moment I've been waiting for years. Let's do it. All right, we made it home. At long last, the culmination of 3+ years, and it is in the garage. I have got a couple of GoPros mounted. We've got one that'll face me as the driver, and the other one is up there facing out, so we'll get some road footage. I'm gonna embark on my first real drive. I'm not counting the drive back from the dealership home as a real drive because there was a lot of traffic. So spirited canyon driving. I'm still gonna be getting used to the car, so it's not gonna be anything too wild, and staying below all the posted speed limits. But man, I can't believe it's here. I can't believe. And the blues are pretty different. I know some people are like, oh, you already got a blue car. Isn't that gonna look too similar? Not exactly. Those are pretty different blues if you ask me. And, oh, I'm happy. Oh my God. Well, let's go for a drive. Driving. I'm stuck behind a tour bus right now, so it's not the ideal time, but this is just a little bit of Mulholland's before we turn and get to the freeway, so it's not the main part of the drive anyway. They're taking their sweet time. I guess I can take a moment to discuss some of the comfort features of the vehicle because we're going so slowly. The suspension, when it's in normal mode, is actually like really surprisingly smooth. I say as the camera is probably just bouncing around all over the place really shakily, but you got the GoPros, so, you know, can cut those in as well if need be. Because I saw a lot of videos from people who are like, yo, it's super rough ride, and it doesn't seem to be the case. You can even, if you're in normal mode, you would hit this comfort dampening setting. Right now I'm in sport, so I can't turn that on. But when we're in normal mode, I can turn that on if I want an even softer ride. It's honestly very comfortable. The width, it feels like a very, very big car, so it's gonna take some getting used to, and it is like 2 inches wider than anything I've had before. It's longer than any supercar I've had before. And you sit very close to the center of the thing, so you feel, I don't know, it's almost like McLaren F1 style. Not quite, but you're very cozy with the passenger, kind of like rubbing elbows. In any case, it's a very smooth car. It's just, again, I'm gonna have to get used to how wide it is when turning into driveways, things like that. But you know, the lift, which in the McLaren, I'd be like, oh God, do I turn on the lift? It's gonna take a long time to turn on. I'm not sure. People are gonna be waiting for me. In this case, if there is any question about anything, it's just wait for it. Here we go. Boom, lift up. And then, boom, lift down. It's so good. It's immediate. You probably saw it in the delivery video, but that is like my most excited feature because scraping is the thing that scares me most. So I'm keeping it in sport right now. I'm gonna do manual shifting, trying to keep it below about 5,000 RPM as is recommended. I'm not gonna do any super sporty driving quite yet until we get to our destination. I switched back into comfort and normal just because it's probably a little bit difficult to not have extreme bouncing no matter what in this car with the camera work, but anything I can do to mitigate that. But you can't put the comfort mode into effect unless you're in either normal or wet, so that's why I kind of have to deal with either or. Then of course you have your VMAX, which is like, it lowers the suspension of the car, but it keeps the wing down in the back so that you have like full slip aero efficiency to try to achieve the car's max speed. 216 miles an hour, by the way. I don't think I will ever reach that, but it's a number to keep in mind. On the other end of the spectrum, track mode, and that does the suspension lowering and raises the rear wing, which is, you know, what all the gifts are, and it's the best thing in the world. And oh, it's great. But you can't do it on regular road driving because it lowers the suspension to about 3 inches of ground clearance, so it's 2 inches lower than the standard ride height, and you'll scrape on everything. So don't want to do that. Even though the car is wrapped, it's not going to save it from asphalt to carbon fiber contact, so we don't want to do that. So as you may have caught in the delivery video, I have the steering wheel like all the way as far as it goes to me, which, like, if there are people who have shorter arms than me, which there have got to be some, like, it's gonna be a little bit of a reach potentially. The pedals are totally fine, and I was more worried about those. But don't get me wrong, it's a totally fine driving position. I'm not reaching at all. It was just, it made it to exactly where it needed to be. My only complaints here, as we're sitting in traffic, it's like you pay $500 for a car, and you don't even get like adaptive cruise control that just self-drives the car. You don't get the self-drive steering that stays in the lane. You don't get massaging seats. It's just, I don't know how to deal with this. There is actually a cruise control option over here, I will say. Right on the wheel. I don't know how to engage it, and I don't think I'll ever learn, if I'm being serious for a moment, taking us out of the joke. Yeah, other than that, as far as the comfort goes, like, you can switch it into auto. This button down here, which has lit up for manual, I can switch it back anytime. It'll go back into auto mode, which I know everyone's gonna yell at. They're like,
"You already don't have a stick shift, you better be using the paddles."
If you're stuck in traffic, dude, you don't want to have to deal with that. So I drive it in manual for the most part. Like, I drove the McLaren, I drove the Ferrari with the paddles all the time, but occasionally you get stuck in traffic and you're like, I don't want to have to deal with this. There's no reason to. But obviously, if you're having some fun, you're gonna leave it in manual, and it's a good time. Anyway, I think that's pretty much it so far as for like the first impressions just of city driving, which is not how the car is gonna be used for the most part, nor most people owning these, but it's good to at least know that kind of, you know, you leave your house, you have to go through a little bit of city driving usually before you get to the fun bit, so it's good to know that it's pretty compliant when it comes to that. And again, just first impressions, I'll probably get more used to it as time goes by. I will. But there you have it. Let's make it out to the fun stuff now. We're on the more spirited section of the drive right now. Just got on the Mulholland Highway, and there is a pickup truck right in front of me. Maybe they will be kind and notice and pull to the side. They're so nice. Thank you. Oh, that's so kind of them. So we're just getting used to it. The tricky thing is I have to really constantly monitor the revs because I don't want to go over 5K. So I might at times kind of hesitate on my acceleration just because I'm like, oh, are we gonna go over? Uh-oh, gotta be mindful of the break-in. As much fun as I want to have right now, I would prefer keeping the engine in good shape. It is amazing how planted this thing is. It's like truly incredible. The amount of confidence that it gives you. And I've been used to the Ferrari for the past few months driving on this road. And what I'll say about the Ferrari is that when you put down the accelerator hard out of a corner, it really likes to start slipping. And that was not an issue in the McLaren, and it's certainly not an issue in this. We're only driving like 3/4 right now because, again, just want to play it safe. And but so far, been going for... Did we just lose battery on that? God damn it, we lost battery on that one. So we have no interior camera now. That's great. So we got microphone audio and external camera. That's nice. Well, whatever the case, I guess you'll have to roll with that if you're watching this. And when it gets a little bit smoother, then might be able to use the big cam. I thought I'd be more intimidated, honestly, to begin with, and it's just not the case. It's like a car that you are immediately super duper comfortable with right off the bat, having just gotten it and taken it off the lot. Like, yes, there's obviously far more headroom to go, and I don't think I will ever be the caliber of driver to be able to master what this thing can do. But just in comparison to the way I drove the McLaren, I mean, it's already far, far above the 458. There's no competition there whatsoever. Usually, like, it takes a little bit of time to get used to, and you're kind of nervous. You got butterflies as you're driving the thing around. And even though this is the widest car I've had so far and the most valuable one, it just feels good. like bar that you can kind of brace your feet against, which I am being told right now is very helpful so as to not get tossed around all over the place. So okay, so that was that. I do apologize that the interior GoPro failed. Kind of a bummer, but you know, the exterior's still interesting. Just couldn't have this camera going while we were going around those corners. It's hard enough to just keep yourself upright. Forget about having a camera. Incredible. It is by far the most exciting car I have had a chance to drive, which, I mean, you would expect, because the newest car purchase and the highest end. But currently, I just switched it back for the sake of filming this wrap-up. I switched it back to normal, comfort, and automatic as we're cruising down PCH, so that I can just, you know, chat about that. Not much else to say other than incredibly stoked on how it's driving so far. I didn't go quite as heavy, didn't shift down to second in a lot of places where I would have otherwise, just because I didn't want to risk going over my rev threshold. I want to keep it nice and safe. Don't get me wrong, we're up to temperatures and everything, but I figure better safe than sorry. We'll hit 600 miles pretty quickly. Right now we are at 85, so, you know, we're like 15% of the way there. Shouldn't take too much longer, just a few more nice little day trips and then we'll be there. Drop it back off, get the service, and then I won't have to worry about downshifting when I would like to in any other situation. Next time around, I'll make sure that the interior GoPro is charged when we go for a drive. But as for my first impressions of the thing, wow, I would not have expected to be so comfortable right off the bat. Like, it's not something I've had in any other car. And granted, I'm obviously more experienced with cars, more years down the road, but still, it's exceeded my expectations in that regard. The shifts are unbelievably smooth. Like, oftentimes, even if it's a dual clutch, occasionally you'll get a shift that can kind of lurch you a little bit. Incredible in this. And then never in my life have I driven a car that has such absolutely non-existent body roll. It's completely flat around any corner. It's like unbelievable. Even in the McLaren, you get a little bit of body roll here and there, but combine that no body roll with the fact that the suspension is actually like pretty compliant and feels nice on an average road surface. Like, it's rougher than your Toyota Camry or something like that, but you're not just like bouncing up and down like crazy, like you have no suspension at all in some kind of track only, not road legal vehicle. And haven't scraped once. So I was worried I was gonna get in the car, the first thing we're gonna hit like a dip, suspension will bottom out and I'd scrape. Nope, we're totally fine. And then the suspension lifter, I can't speak enough about the suspension lifter. The fact that if there is any shred of doubt, it goes up instantaneously, so there's absolutely no reason to not deploy it. Just do it. So about to go get some food here, and I think I'll wind it down. Nothing but good things to say so far. I'm so happy, and I can't wait to do more videos of more driving, track stuff, getting more used to it. It's gonna be great. So thanks so much for watching, sticking around for the first drive. I appreciate it, and wind it down here. See you next time.